When we talk about principles and elements of design, especially when we focus in on principles, it is really hard to say that there is one principle that's more important than another. I have expressed how important emphasis is. I have expressed how important hierarchy is. Here, I'm going to try to express to you how important typography is. In fact, typography is probably the main measurement that art directors who hire graphic designers use to choose who they're going to hire. The ability for a graphic designer to effectively and creatively use typography is the difference between a professional and an amateur. It takes a long time to really understand and learn how to use typography, but there's a couple of things that I want to express to you right away, hopefully that you're going to get it. At least get a start. First of all, we don't pick typography random. We have a message, a visual communication message that we're trying to communicate, and we are communicating it with visual elements. In this case, you can see a scribble illustration of Albert Einstein. And most people know that Albert Einstein had dyslexia. The scribble illustration and the idea of dyslexia go together. That makes a lot of sense emotionally. Continuing with that idea, this designer chose the typography that you see. The typography itself continues, the letters themselves continue to communicate this main message that the designer is trying to communicate. This is a fantastic piece because every aspect of the focal point, and notice again, we have a main image interacting with a headline. That whole thing clearly communicates the message both intellectually and emotionally. Now we can talk about other things in this design, like the use of space, the motion that is going from left to right. There is a lot of other things that we can talk about. But looking at this, the first and foremost and most important thing I want you to understand about typography is that the letters and the words, the type style, the organization, their grouping, their shape, all of that needs to be considered when you create your design. It is never random. The letters have personality. The letters have movement or they don't have movement. The letters have size or they don't have size. The letters have fluidity or they're boxy. The letters look organic or they look geometric. All of these things are necessary to consider when you are doing your design. Let the message and the emotion and the tone of your design determine what typography you're going to choose. In this poster, you can obviously see the idea, the message, the tone of dancing. Not only is the main focal point the dancer drawing our attention, but also all of the typography around him is dancing. Notice that it is at different angles. Notice there are different widths, different sizes, different spacing between the letters. All of these things reinforce the idea of dancing. And not only does the typography reinforce dancing, but notice it's used as a texture. Typography can very often be effectively used as texture. Now, some people would look at this and say, oh, well, I can't read it. Well, I think you can. And if you are interested in it, you will take the time to read it. And some people might look at this and say there is no organization, but in fact, there really is. You see the dancer first, the word public on the left, and then you start going around and looking at all this way. And you kind of end up right there. That is very well organized. And so my point is, you can have a very complicated design that still can be well organized, still contain very good hierarchy. In the previous poster, the designer used some different fonts and used different weights of the font, used different spacing in the text. And here, this designer is doing the same thing in many cases, but the previous designer did it well. This designer didn't do it well at all. Now, there are a lot of other problems with this besides the typography. For example, what's the message? Big, bold, booming, what? Hollywood event? Well, we don't see that right away, but what Hollywood event? So there's a lot of message problems and a lot of hierarchy problems here. What we lack most here, because of the variance in typography, is unity of design. There is nothing in this design that makes this piece seem like it's all one single design composition. Notice, outside of the illustration logo, which, guess what shape it is? A triangle. Outside of the illustration logo, we have really just typography, line, and texture going on in this advertisement. Because this is an insurance company, and insurance companies need to be strong, solid, corporate, smart, professional. Those are the emotions and tones that are needed when you are communicating about an insurance company. Now, there are some insurance companies that take a humorous route, and we've seen them on TV, and I get that, and they could be very, very successful. But this insurance company wants to look professional and corporate, and so notice the typography is professional and corporate. It's very sturdy, it's very angular, it's very geometric, it's very organized, things are in their place, the groupings are very organized. This company has chosen to use this design style as a campaign where they use the overall style and concept in additional ads, changing it up just a little bit, but keeping the same idea. Take a look at that. The first one said future ready, this one says action ready, and then this one says success ready. This campaign then gets promoted over time, building a brand, an image about this company that is strong and successful. As you can see with these examples, typography has an important role, a significant role in the emotion, the tone, the message. Don't underestimate typography. In your assignments and in your designs, don't randomly choose typography. Think about the emotion and the tone of your message when you are searching for that right type style.